Sometimes a single color shirt is fine, but sometimes it isn't. Don't go away. Hello everyone and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. You see it in virtually every video I make. I love my t-shirts. Here in Vegas, I literally wear a t-shirt every day of the year, and I love for them to say something about me. So, when I invested in a heat press, it was a match made in heaven. I already had a vinyl cutter, and with the heat press and some heat transfer vinyl, or HTV, I was able to make my own shirts with my own message. The problem with HTV is it works best for single color designs. With a little knowledge and a small bit of extra work in your designs, though, you can make wonderful shirts with 2 or more colors. Today, I'll be making a 2-color shirt on my heat press to represent the high school football team I played for during my sophomore year, the Driscoll High School Highlanders. So let's get to work. So it really has been a long time since we've done a video on making t-shirts. And we're really going to get back into that. We're going to show you a lot of very cool stuff in the realm of t-shirt making and essentially decorating apparel. But today we're going to start by talking about doing a 2-color shirt with a heat press. Now, one of the big issues you run into with heat press stuff is that people tend to think, well, 1 color. Here is a shirt that I did, and this is what people really think about when they think about designing and decorating a shirt with a heat transfer or a heat press. They think you can only use 1 color. Well, that's not absolutely true. Now, there are other technologies that will let you do better with lots of colors, but this is a great way to make quick, easy shirts. And yes, you can do 2 or more colors if you do it right. So that's what we're going to do here today. And to start things off, we're going to go into Adobe Illustrator and we're going to design our artwork. So Driscoll High School is a school that no longer exists. This is where I went for my freshman and half my sophomore year before moving over to my alma mater, Fenton High School in Bensonville, Illinois. I have some Fenton t-shirts, but I don't have any Driscoll ones, so we're going to fix that today. 82 was my number, so we've got Driscoll football number 82. And all I'm doing right now is just laying out the basic wording, and I'm not worrying about the coloration right now. And I'm actually going to, in this design, I'm going to make a couple options for myself, and then I'll go with what I think works best. But this is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. If your artwork isn't right, your shirt isn't going to come out good, the 2 colors aren't going to work out, you're going to start to get these layers on layers on layers that become thick and uncomfortable. So you really need to take matters into your own hands right here in your artwork design. Now, going into this, I already know that I want to do a 2-color design, and Driscoll's colors were yellow and, well, gold and black. And an ancillary color would be white. So I have those 3 colors to play with, but I think my focus is to get the gold and black. So what I'm thinking of is I'm thinking of putting this on a black t-shirt, and I'm either going to do the letters in gold with a white border, or white with a gold border, or maybe even a gap between the two, so I get the appearance of a third color, which is really just a t-shirt showing. So I'm going to give myself a few options here. So right here, this right here is what I'm thinking my shirt is going to look like. And you notice I've got black behind it, and that's just so I can see how everything looks on a black shirt. But I really think this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to explain what's happening here so you can understand it. And this is not the way to do it. So I've created a word or a letter or an artwork piece, and I've got it here in my graphic software. Now I've made a second copy of it in the alternate color, and it is stacked in a virtual world on top of the first one. And this is just a better way to see it. So we've got the one on the bottom, we got the one on the top, and they're two different colors. Now, if we take and put them together, this is what we have. And it looks exactly the way I think I want it to look. But there's a problem with that. And the problem is I now have two layers of my heat transfer vinyl, or my HTV, and that can start to add up really quick. It can start to make your shirt thicker and uncomfortable, and it's really not the way to go. Can you do it that way? Yes. Should you do it that way? No. Now, before I show you the right way to set this artwork up for heat transfer, I just wanted to show you this. This is an alternate version of what I'm thinking about doing. And basically, I would be pressing down a white layer and a gold layer, and there would be a gap between the layers so that the black of the shirt would show through. And that kind of simulates a third color. So it's a possibility. It's maybe what I'll do, but I'm still leaning towards just the white and the gold on the black. Okay, so I'm happy with the artwork, and I've got it set up properly, and I'm going to show you how that should look right now. So we're going to do the same thing we did before with two layers, but this time the bigger layer is on top and the smaller is on the bottom. So now I'm going to take that upper layer and I'm going to drop the fill out and make it transparent. So all that is left is this black border. When I sandwich the two pieces together, I get the exact same image I had before. But if we look at it with X-ray vision, we can see the overlap that we have. This is going to prevent any gaps between the black and the gold. It's going to give us the exact same look, but it's going to make it be one layer of vinyl pretty much throughout the entire graphic. That is the proper way to set up your artwork. And I've got mine set up that way. So now we can go to my cutting software. Now, my vinyl cutter came with a cutting application called Sure Cuts a Lot. I paid extra and upgraded to the professional version, and that's what I'm going to be using here today. So all I need to do is take the Illustrator file that I've finished, import it into Sure Cuts a Lot, and now I can set up my vinyl cutter and send the job there in two passes to cut out the gold piece and what's actually going to be a white piece. With the artwork imported into Sure Cuts a Lot, I'll position it at the leading edge of my vinyl. I'll arrange it so it will use the least amount of vinyl. I'll scale the artwork, and in this case, because it's for me and I'm a big guy, I usually make my t-shirts at about 12 inches wide. Otherwise, things start to look like a postage stamp on me. So I've got it scaled, I've got it rotated, I've got it positioned, and now I'm telling it I want to cut by specific colors. And in this case, I'm going to cut the white layer first. Now, it's important for most cutting applications to remember to tell your cutting software to invert the image. When you're cutting a heat transfer vinyl, almost all heat transfer vinyl needs to be cut backwards because of the orientation of the carrier. So we're going to get this all set up. We're going to send it to the printer. We're going to cut it out of white in an inverted fashion. The white vinyl that I'm using is a product from Stahls called Fashion Film, and I love this stuff. From what I understand, they're gonna discontinue it because they've replaced it with a stuff called Easy Weed, and I'm sure Easy Weed is fantastic. But I've had such great luck with Fashion Film. I'm a little sad that they're gonna cancel it, and I hope they change their mind. The stuff is really, really great. So anyhow, we're gonna cut all this out, and then we can get to weeding. So I'm ready to cut the second color, and I haven't had to change anything on my artwork, but in the cutting panel I'm going to do a couple things here. I'm going to choose the gold color instead of the white color, and in this case I'm going to use a specialty paper. And we'll talk about that more in length in a different video, but suffice it to say that this specialty paper, you don't cut it inverted. So I'll turn off invert, send the job to the cutter, and with the proper paper loaded, it will cut out the design, and I'm ready to go. So this is a printed paper, and it's a little bit different than most of your heat transfer vinyls. I really like it, and I think it's going to look great in the t-shirt. But like I said, we're cutting on the front of the paper here, and that means we don't want to invert our artwork like we normally would. If we do that, it's going to be backwards. So here I am weeding away all the excess vinyl, and fortunately for me, this isn't too complicated of a design, so it should weed pretty easily. Now, as I said, I'm using Fashion Film here, and one of the reasons I like Fashion Film is because it has a very sticky carrier, and that means there's less chance of you pulling away pieces of your image as you pull away the scrap. I love this stuff. It looks fantastic on a shirt. It cuts really easily. It weeds perfectly. Yes, it's a little difficult because it's so sticky, but at the end of the day, I'd rather this be a little bit tougher and have my stuff come out right than to pull away a letter and have to fight with that. So anyhow, we're going to finish getting this weeded, then we'll get the gold weeded, and then we can head to the heat press. Now, whether it's one color, two colors, three colors, or whatever, I go through this same process. My press is heated up to the recommended settings, the pressure is set, and now I'm going to find the center line of my t-shirt. And I start by folding the collar in half, then matching up the points of the shoulders. Then I shake the shirt out and reach down and I line up the tail so that I now have the center of the t-shirt. I'll just drape that over my press, make sure it's smooth, and then I'm just going to lightly put some heated pressure on it just to put a little bit of a crease in the shirt at the center line. This will help me get the transfer in the right place on the shirt. So now I will thread the shirt onto the platen, and this is a threadable press, meaning you can slide the shirt right over the platen. One part goes over the top, one part goes over the bottom. I love this thing. It's a great press. It's expensive, and you don't need a press this fancy. You can get by with a cheapo press, but I really do love mine. Anyhow, I digress. Now I've got a centering ruler, and I'm going to put it on the crease that I put in. And then using that, I will make sure it's centered on the platen, and I will pull it up to get the collar off. Once I'm happy with it, now I can go ahead and do the first press. The first press is going to be designed to remove any moisture from the t-shirt and make sure I have a nice flat surface. But I did notice I've got some scamots and dog hairs on the shirt, and we don't want to press a dog hair into our shirt, so a little bit with the adhesive roller, and now we'll do the first press. Now, every manufacturer has instructions for applying its products, and they should have instructions for multiple colors, because you will do that differently. For Stahls, they have a great resource on multiple colors, on how to properly apply the vinyls. In my case, I'm going to put down the fashion film first, and I'm going to press it for about 2 to 3 seconds. Then I'll open up the press and remove the carrier in a hot peel, and then I can go to the second color. So anyhow, I'm just checking my alignment, making sure everything looks right. Swing the press in 2 to 3 seconds. So I open the press and hot peel the carrier. That's for the garbage. And then I'll just smooth the shirt back out and let it sit while I get ready for the second color. Now the second color here is that gold specialty paper, and it tacks down for about 2 to 3 seconds as well. So first, I'm very carefully going to line this up with the base layer. The idea here is I don't want any of the black showing between the gold and the white. And when you press things and pull the carrier away, sometimes the shirt stretches a little and moves a little, and you really have to kind of work this a little bit and make sure every individual letter is properly lined up. Otherwise, your shirt's going to look slipshod, and you sure don't want that. So with my next layer lined up, I'm going to swing the press in, and it's also going to get about a 2 to 3 second press. We'll open it up, and we'll also peel this hot. Now you might think the shirt's done, and it does. It looks fantastic. It looks done, but I now need to press both layers for the proper amount of time which is about 15 seconds. So we've put a cover sheet over the art. We swung the press back in, we've clamped it down, and we'll just let it go for about 15 seconds. Time is up. We can swing the press out of the way, remove the cover sheet, and take a look and see what we've done. Boom. I think that looks pretty awesome. Super happy with it. I've just made a wonderful two-color shirt. Well, there you have it. Not only do we have a great two-color shirt, it's all done on a heat press. With a bit of creativity, you can add additional colors and still keep the shirt thin and comfortable. I hope you love this video, and if so, please give it a big thumbs up, click subscribe, and be sure to click the notification bell so you never miss one of my t-shirt videos. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below, and I'll do my very best to answer you. Well, that's it for today. Never forget that life is about using the whole box of crayons. Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions saying be good.